There's a place in the town of Crestwood that people don't talk about. Not because it's haunted or cursed, but because sometimes silence just grows around certain places. The way vines cover an old wall until you can't see the bricks anymore. The place was the old house on Willow Road. For decades, it stood untouched. A big Victorian home with wide windows and a sagging porch where laughter once must have echoed. But now, it was just forgotten, or so it seemed, because someone was always living inside. This is where our story begins. With Evan. He was a 31-year-old graphic designer who just moved to Crestwood from the city. He wasn't looking for a fresh start. He was just tired. Tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix. His life felt like an endless loop. Wake up, work, sleep, repeat. He didn't know what he wanted anymore. He just knew he was running on empty. He rented a small apartment near Willow Road. Every morning, on his way to the local cafe, he passed the old house. At first, he barely noticed it, but soon, it started to pull him in. It wasn't the creepy vibe. It was something else. A feeling like the house was alive. One cold morning, with snowflakes drifting down, Evan saw it. A figure standing behind a dusty upstairs window. Someone was in there, watching. He blinked, and the figure was gone. But curiosity, one spark, doesn't go out easily. That evening, he asked the cafe owner, Mara, about the house. She paused, her expression changing. The Willow Road house, she said. Yeah, we all know it. Nobody goes there. It's not dangerous. It's just not, right? She hesitated, then added, some places hold on to stories long after the people who lived them are gone. That house has one, and it isn't finished. That night, Evan couldn't sleep. The next morning, he skipped the cafe and walked straight to the house. The gate was unlocked. The air felt heavy, as if even the wind was holding its breath. He stepped onto the porch, the wood creaking beneath his feet. He heard a faint shuffle from inside. Someone was definitely there. He knocked out nothing. He knocked again. Finally, the door opened a crack. A young woman looked out. She had pale skin, dark hair tied back loosely, and eyes that seemed incredibly deep, like they'd seen too much. Can I help you? She asked. Her voice wasn't hostile, just weary. I live nearby. Evan stammered. I just see this house every day and you're curious. She finished for him, a faint smile touching her lips. Everyone is, but most people stay afraid. I'm not afraid, Evan said, and meant it. She studied him for a long moment, then opened the door wider. My name is Leela. The inside of the house wasn't abandoned. It was old, yes, but it was warm and cared for. There were photos on the mantle, a piano in the corner, a well-worn reading chair. It was like a moment frozen in time. You live here alone? Evan asked. Leela shook her head. My father lives upstairs. He isn't well. Just then, a faint, frail cough echoed from the floor above. Evan nodded, understanding. They sat and talked for hours. About small things at first, but slowly. Their conversations went deeper. Their meetings became a daily habit. Evan learned that Lila's father had been a brilliant pianist, but after her mother passed away 5 years ago, he'd shut himself inside the house, swallowed by his grief, and Leela stayed to care for him. Her own life put on hold while the world outside moved on. Evan understood that feeling all too well. One evening, Leela asked him, "Why did you really come to Crestwood?" Evan hesitated, then the truth came out. I didn't want to be alive anymore. Not in the way I was living. Everything felt empty, like I was watching my own life from the outside. A quiet, honest silence fell between them. Leela nodded slowly. That's how I feel here, every day. This house is a memory I can't leave. Later that night, Evan heard it. Soft, hesitant notes from a piano, drifting through the cold air. For the first time in a long time, he felt something shift inside him. Not pain, but recognition. He knew the sound of someone trying to hold on to something that was already gone. As winter deepened, Lila's father grew weaker. The fragile piano music stopped. One evening, Leela came downstairs, her eyes red. "It's time," she whispered. Evan sat with them through the night, holding Lila's hand, listening to the quiet breaths of a man whose life had been filled with music. Just before dawn, he took one last breath, and the house fell impossibly still. Not empty, just finally at rest. After the small funeral, they returned to the house. Leela stood in the living room, looking around as if she didn't recognize it. "I don't know how to leave," she said softly. "You don't have to know," Evan replied. "You just have to want to." Their eyes met, and for the first time, she didn't look tired. She just looked human. Spring came slowly to Crestwood, melting the snow and waking the world up. The house on Willow Road stood in the sunlight, its windows open, curtains fluttering in the breeze. Leela began to pack, not to abandon the house, but to free herself from it. And Evan was there, helping her, not because she needed him to, but because he needed her too. They didn't talk about love. They didn't need to. Their story didn't start with a spark or a kiss. It started with two people who were lost and who, by finding each other, started to find their way back. It's a reminder that sometimes the most profound connections are built not on happiness, but on shared burdens and the quiet decision to face the future together. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories about the connections that save us. We'll see you next time.